Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man tamassaka bi sunnatihi wa ihtada bi hadihi ila yawmiddin, amma ba'd. The last class that we had in the blessed month of Ramadan, we spoke about a few issues of fasting in the month of Ramadan, and also some spiritual guidance and some spiritual advice with regards to procrastination and with regards to having overextended hopes, and how these two things are considered to be cancer, things that will destroy the slave and render his life a failure in this life and in hereafter. When you procrastinate and when you wish for something that is beyond your reach, not meaning don't have dreams, don't be a big dreamer, but dreaming about something that you know you're not willing to sacrifice for. It's a difference. You can dream whatever you want to be, bi'idhnillah azza wa jalla. And if you're willing to work and to grind and to struggle and to sacrifice, that's good. But if you're not willing to take the necessary steps to become what you dream and aspire to be, then there's a waste of time and it's foolishness. And the shaitan will continue to lead you into nothingness, into fruitless life, without no production, because inshallah I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, inshallah, inshallah, inshallah. And not only that which is feasible and actual, you keep procrastinating and delaying, but then you hope for that which isn't even in your means, that which is beyond what you're willing and capable of doing. So we were explaining how this is something that is very dangerous upon the Muslim in general, and especially upon the student of knowledge with regards to going overseas and studying. And unfortunately, if you look into yourself and those who are around you, you find these two sicknesses very prevalent. Very prevalent. In the masjids, Islamic centers, yourself, your family, your wife, your children. But we're talking about ilm, knowledge. Everybody wants to go seek knowledge. I want to study, I want to study, I want to go overseas, I want to learn, I want to learn, I want to learn. How many people are willing to make those sacrifices? Or the masjids. We want this masjid, we want this center, we want to make this big grand masjid, we want this imam, we want this person, we want this sheikh to come to our masjid, to our country. But are you willing to make the necessary steps and sacrifices? Many people, they want things, but they're not willing to sacrifice. We want you to come and stay at our masjid, mufti. Come spend a weekend. Come spend a week. Come be the imam. Okay, if I come, what are you willing to do? I'm stuck in the hotel. I don't have no food, me and my children. I have to work. Call brother Fulan. Inshallah, let me call you back. It's not going to work. If I'm sacrificing coming to you, to your masjid, you have to make yourself available. You have to make yourself available. Or the opposite. The masjid is making itself available. They're providing the facility. They're providing the necessary things. They're making sacrifices, but I have an excuse. I can't come. I'm sick. I'm tired. I'm addict. I don't feel like it. Blah, blah. It's not going to work. So to want something, but I want to teach to people. I want to give classes. I want to have a community, but I'm not willing to sacrifice. That is blameworthy. And it's something that is very prevalent among the Muslims. And something that you can clearly see and easily see is destruction in our communities. People procrastinate and they put things off. And people, they bite off more than they can chew. They have overextended hopes. We want to have this grand place. But who's willing to spend on that grand place? Who's willing to volunteer, to clean up, to do security, to pick up the imam, to drop them off? He wants some cookies and milk at 12 a.m. You going to bring it to him? La, we'll give you a rental car and a GPS, kalas. You can go yourself, which may be better. I don't want everybody see the point I'm trying to get to though. It's a reality, wallahi. I've been in so many places. I can tell you all types of stories off for to tell them. All kind of stuff. Here, there, different parts of New York City. Amazing. Please, Mufti, come stay with us. We want you to be here. But the moment it's time for them to sacrifice, that's a problem. So may Allah Azza wa Jalla help us all. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward those who do make those necessary sacrifices. I mean, on both sides. And Allah knows those who do. Those who talk and those who walk. Allah knows them. Allah knows the talkers and Allah knows the walkers. And you have to walk more than you talk, especially in this deen. In this dawah, you have to be about it, as they say. Not, I can't, Mahdi, I need to go home. He said, alas, we missed the last train, right? It'll be done, bi'idhnillah. Uncle Faz, kada wa kada, tayyib. It'll be done. Fulan, kada, wa hakada. So we should all be about moving, bi'idhnillah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Khair inshallah. Now, before the month of Ramadan, we were speaking about some issues of fiqh with regards to the wudu and with regards to the tayammum. And the last chapter that we stopped at was with regards to removing najasat. In Islam, there are certain things that are called or considered to be najis. Najis. Everyone say najis. Najis. Or with a fatha, najas. Something that is najis. Everyone explain what something that is najis is. And before we move on, we had a request with regards to al-wasaya, writing wills. Inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the fiqh of writing wills, when to write a will, how much can you put in a will, is it obligatory to write a will? Bi'idhnillah azza wa jalla, we'll explain that, we'll go over that in our next class. Hopefully before the end of this summer, and if not, upon returning. Because there's a few things that we need to get into before that, and it's a few things that we need to get into after the concept of wills. And that is because al-wasiyya, or the will, the Islamic will, even in outside of Islam, is connected to something else. What is it connected to? Anybody know? Wealth, good, death. What else? Something more specific. Combination between wealth and death. Ascent, fara'id, inheritance. In other words, there are certain people that deserve certain things. There are certain people that don't deserve certain things. And that pertains to what you can put in a will. If you die, you have a wife, you have children, brothers, sisters, grandparents, so on and so forth. That is going to determine what you can put in your will, how much you can put in your will, and who you're allowed to leave your will to. Everybody understand this? Okay? Also, we have the concept of, in Islam and in other than Islam, living in non-Islamic countries, wherever they are, in the East or the West, okay? Non-Islamic environments and communities, what happens to your wealth when you die? Who takes your wealth? Who can you leave your wealth to? These are all issues that pertain to the wasiyah. But in brief, to make things brief and to honor your request, Sheikh Suleiman, we say that the will for someone that has a fair amount of wealth, he doesn't have to be filthy rich, but he has a considerable, okay amount of wealth, we say that it is highly recommended for him to write the will. 2 nights should not go by without him having an Islamic will. And in that will, he is allowed to leave things to his family members, relatives, and people that are not his family members and relatives. He can leave things to people that are related to him and those who are not necessarily related to him. However, what he leaves in his will shouldn't be more than 1/3 of his wealth. We didn't say it's necessarily impermissible, but we said it's not best for you to recommend 1/3 of your possessions in your will. Why is this? This is because a will is one thing, and inheritance is something else. In other words, you can leave something to someone that wouldn't necessarily or normally inherit from you. Whether it's because they're not a family member or because they're not a Muslim. There's a difference between a will and between inheritance. They aren't necessarily the same. So therefore, if you leave all of your possessions in your will, that means what? Ascent. And that's not necessarily fair to them. Whereas they have a right to your wealth. Right? Especially your children and your parents, things like this. Right, Sheikh Mahdi? Someone says, it's my money. I'll leave it to who I want to. But in Islam, it may be a bit different. Okay? So therefore, the wasiyah should be something that is written. It is recommended that you write the will and that you're allowed to give that will to whomever you want. with regards to washing your body, burying you, praying over you, and with regards to your possessions. In Islam, or even in the English language, they say possessions. Sometimes wealth means possessions, and sometimes it's a difference. But in Islam, the term mal or tarika is anything that you own. So it may not normally be money, quote unquote, but it's from the things that you own. It's in your grip, your clutch, your possession. You can leave that behind. I live my will to Abu Tawheed. You can have my phone, my iPad Air, my tea thermos, and a cup. No, right? I'll leave it to you. You don't ask me for it. Khalas. Moving on. Get in the will, akhi. Fadlon. Now we didn't say this is not a class now, right, Sheikh Mahdi? We said this is just a what? This is just something for you to wet your beak. It's a little sampler. Tell them, Suleiman. This is a sampler, okay? We're not gonna give you the full-fledged blow right now.
Most people here, they buy something, but they don't own it. They just pay small payments towards it. Would that be considered a mal, or that's just the bank that owns it?
It's a whole different concept right there, brother. With regards to the bank and your possessions being repoed. I don't think we should get into that right now.
That's big time.
Hey, well, some brothers might have to get rid of their cars as soon as they walk outside the masjid. Al-Muhim, in general, if it is yours 100%, that's one thing. If you didn't finish paying off, if you left collateral, if you didn't leave collateral, it's a different issue. Whereas the Messenger of Allah, he died, and it was a certain amount of barley that he bought from a Jewish man in Medina. But he left him something for collateral. So if you have a debt and you leave collateral, then that's one thing. Okay? But if you haven't paid all the things off in that possession, and the person wants either the wealth, either the property itself, or the heirs to pay the rest, then that's another thing. Clear? For example, let's say I have this cell phone, and I was paying installments on this cell phone. I pass away. You're going to inherit the cell phone from me, or I leave it in my will, or whatever the case may be. So I want Mufti's cell phone. It's a nice phone, and it has all of his durus on it. I want it. And the owner of the phone says, Mufti still owes $200 on the phone. All right, here, take the rest of the money, and I'll take it. Wahakada. Wallahu alam. Tayyib, inshallah. So these are some of the basic rulings of the will. Living in non-Islamic countries, it's even more important to write the will with regards to your body. Okay? Because your body will be cremated, embalmed, shipped to Guyana or Bangladesh or wherever your body is going to be shipped to. Most of you brothers, or many of you brothers, some that come from Muslim families, so it's not too much of a problem. But those of us that come from non-Muslim families may be a problem. And I've seen it so many times. Brother was Muslim for 30 years, 40 years. His mother knew it, beard, thobe, no pork, his wife. And she dies, and she says, that was my son. That was my baby. I don't care what you call him, Abdurrahman, Abu Fulan, Fulan. His name is such and such, and I baptized him. And he's going to the church. Whether it's out of spite, out of love, whatever. Right, Sheikh Mahdi? He's the oldest child, Muslim or Christian. That's my baby. She love you to death. And if you don't have no will, and she's legally your guardian and so on and so forth, and she takes possession of your body, and then you perform those crimes on you and bury you like that in a church, that's a big, big issue. So if you come from a non-Muslim family, then you should really, really, really write your will. And specifically put in your will what you want to happen to your body. Do not mutilate me. Do not do this. Do not allow me to be washed and buried in a proper Islamic manner. It's even more dangerous. And wallah, I've seen this happen so many times. Brothers, especially in Philadelphia, Allah knows best how many janazas we've done. This brother was shot in the street. He was dead. He was killed. And didn't have a will. He was known to us as a Muslim, but to his mother, I named him, what's his name, Mikey? What did she name him? No, not Joseph. That's it. Maybe Joseph, but what's his name? What did she name her son? What was the brother's name before he accepted Islam?
John Doe.
We need a good name, a traditional American name. Joseph is like that's a popular name, but that's like a heavy biblical name.
Eric Drake.
Eric Drake. Allah, there we go. Eric, Big E. Tayyib. He's known to us as Abdurrahman. But his grandmother from Macon, Georgia, or from South Carolina, this and that, she known him as Eric. Okay? His mother, let's get even deeper than this. His mother may be okay. She knew he was a Muslim. He lived with his mother his whole life. But the grandmother doesn't know nothing about Islam. And she's in charge of everything. She's the boss of the family. Typical scenario. She comes up north. She talks to her daughter. You better not let the Muslims take his body and do this and that. No, but he was a Muslim, so what? If you allow that, then I'm not paying for anything. I'm not paying for nothing, no funeral services if you allow them to bury him as a Muslim. What you going to do? But if there's a will that you wrote specifically on paper, they have to do what? They have to respect it. And the Muslims can take the body and do what they need to do, so on and so forth. So it's a very important issue when it comes to writing a will. Khayran, inshallah. As for leaving more than a third of your wealth to someone who's not an heir, then some of the scholars, Abu Tawheed, they say that it's permissible with the condition that the heirs don't mind. They say it's okay. For example, there was a teacher and he had a student, he had a top student, top ranking pupil. And they knew his relationship with his teacher. And they said, we don't mind for you to leave all of your books and all of your possessions for him, because you know the type of relationship that you have. If they say that's okay, then that's permissible, according to some of the people of knowledge. Khayran, inshallah. Alright, let's move on now, because this is not our class. Next time, idhnillah. Inshallah, God keep you guys hungry. Now, what do we do? Just chill. Allahu Akbar. May Allah make things easy for you. Right. In Islam, we have that which is called an-najasa, or that which is najis. What is, or how do we determine what is impure in Islam? How do we determine what is pure and what is impure in Islam? Follow. That which can harm you. Poison can harm you. Doesn't mean it's najis. Okay? Something is filthy doesn't mean that it's najis. Let's make an example. Let's say a person, he has some bad things on his phone. Some bad things on his phone. Things that shouldn't be on his phone. Pornographic images or videos on his phone. May Allah protect us from that. You pick up the phone, you touch the phone, you use the brother's phone. You have to wash off your hands? I do. Do I have to wash my hands before I pray? It's preferred. Allahu Akbar. What do you say, Uncle Faz? I have to wash my hands. All I did was just pick up the phone. Those things on the phone, filthy or not? Doesn't mean that it's najis. Because the word filthy is a relative term. Dirt could be filthy, but it don't mean that it's najis. Rather, the dirt could be cleaner than you. So we need something more. It's a very important question. What is najasa in Islam? That which is mentioned in the Quran and Sunnah to do what? To be washed, to stay away from, to avoid. Anybody else? Tawheed. That's what we're trying to determine right now. Abu Tawheed.
Anything like the body fluids that will break your wudu, that will require you have to make ghusl or wudu again.
So what about a dog's saliva? Come from your body? Break your wudu? So I find a definition. Break your wudu. Tahir. Anything else? Anybody else want to give a shot? La, not today. Tahir, further. Some of the ulama say كل عين حرمت لا لضررها ولا لقذارتها تستقبحه العقول السليمة والفطر المستقيمة. Some of the ulama say that najasa is any and every substance that is impermissible, not because of its harm, nor because of someone deeming it to be disgusting, something that is looked down upon, and people with sound minds and good natural dispositions turn away from. In other words, is it permissible for a man to marry his mother in Islam? Yes or no? So your mother is considered to be what to you? La, you're not najis. Ahsant. Your mother is haram upon you. Can you shake your mother's hand? So your mother is not najis. Every ayn يحرم تناوله ويجب اجتنابه لا لضررها ولا لحرمتها ولا لقذارتها. Every substance that you must stay away from and you must avoid, not because of it being impermissible, such as your mother. Your mother's impermissible, right? But it doesn't mean she's najis. Nor because something is qadir, something is filthy, such as spit or snot or mucus, sputum, things like this. No one wants it on their clothes, but it doesn't mean that it's what? That it means that it's najis. Poison is harmful. Haram to take poison, to give someone poison, so on and so forth. Doesn't necessarily mean that that poison is najis. Everybody understand this? And it's that thing that the sound mind and the correct innate disposition doesn't want to be around and doesn't want to touch. So in other words, najasa, or something that is najis, is a thing that you are not allowed to touch, not allowed to be in direct contact with, not allowed to intake and to have on you. With regards to prayer or not, Mahdi, has nothing to do with the situation from the beginning. It is impermissible for a Muslim to be in the touch and to be around najasa, regardless of prayer, Abu Ta'id, regardless of wudu, regardless of it, it's haram, and it cannot be touched. You cannot be in direct contact with it. That's a different issue. Alcohol is haram. Alcohol is harmful. Is it najis? Some of the ulama in Islam say that it is. They say that alcohol itself is najis. It's filthy. If it falls in your clothes, you have to wash it off. Another scholars say that it is haram. It's a major sin to drink it, but it isn't necessarily najis. In other words, let's say, for example, may Allah prevent, your son went to a bar. You heard that he was in a bar on Liberty and what? Liberty and Lefferts. Liberty and Lefferts. You went to go get your son out of the bar. Come on, son, come with me. Fear Allah. He says, no, get away from me. I'm a grown person. Stop trying to run my life. So listen, son, we're leaving this foul, filthy place. I advise you to stay out the bar. Now I'm taking you out of the bar. Get out of here. So you grab him. You yoke him up. Come with me. And you pull him and he struggles and he fights and some alcohol spills in your clothes. And you pull him out the bar. Say, come on, we're going to the masjid right now. We're going to pray. By the time you got there to the masjid, it was the iqamah. You didn't have time to make wudu again or to wash your garment. Or let's say you forgot. Or let's say you didn't even know that the alcohol fell upon you. Allahu Akbar. You made takbir. After the salams, you remembered that stuff spilled on me. Is your prayer valid or invalid? It's the benefit of knowing of it being najis or not. Alcohol is haram. I'm staying away from it. I'm avoiding it. Khalas. We don't need to learn about it being najis. That's the reason why. Because it may spill on you. You may be walking in the street. Something may happen. You never know. Okay? As it happened in New York City once. Me and it was Abu Hanif. We were in Long Island. And the kuffar, they drove by and they threw a can of beer at us. Yeah. And a can of beer fell on the ground. Something splashed on me. This is New York City. I don't know. Maybe you brothers need to tighten it up a little bit. I don't think that'll ever happen in Philadelphia. And Allah knows best. So they put off. They drove off. You know, they left in an expedited manner. Alhamdulillah. They didn't stick around. Okay. Be precise, right? Be precise, Mufti. Khair. Ahsan. Good job. Alhamdulillah. New York State. Fair enough? Khair, inshallah. What is the ruling on this alcohol being on your thobe? Do you have to wash it off? Can you pray with it on your thobe? This is the importance of knowing it being najis or not. Everybody understand this? So there are many things that people consider to be nasty and bad, many things that are impermissible, many things that are harmful, don't necessarily or doesn't necessarily mean that that thing is najis. Everybody understand this? Right. So some of the ulama, they have attempted to give a general rule and definition of najasa for the purpose of making it easy upon the Muslim. Okay? Because there may be some things that are not directly mentioned in the Quran and the Sunnah, and may fall under that understanding that the Muslim should try his best to avoid. Everybody understand this? Wallah, and there's a difference of opinion among the scholars and the definition of something that is najis. Okay, inshallah. Moving on. The author of the book, Aqsar al-Mukhtasarat, rahimahullah, he says, فصل تطهر أرض ونحوها بإزالة عين النجاسة وأثرها بالماء. He says, first and foremost, the ground and something similar to the surface of the ground becomes pure by removing two things. Removing the actual impure essence and the trace of that impure essence with water. If something impure falls upon the earth, upon the ground, two ways of cleaning the ground according to the author. The first is to remove the impermissible or the filthy essence. And secondly is the athar, the trace of it. So therefore, if a dog walked by and the dog relieved itself on the ground, you'd have to actually remove the manure or whatever you want to call it and the actual trace of it. No flies are going to come and land and fly around this anymore. It's two different things. The actual filth itself and the actual athar, the trace of the filth. The author says is that this can only be done with water. It has to be removed with what? With water. So if a person came and he scooped it up and he used a paper towel or something and he used the broom and he got rid of it, the author says that it has to be done with what? With water. He then says, وَبَوْلُ غُلَامٍ لَمْ يَأْكُلْ طَعَامًا بِشَهْوَةٍ وَقَيْئُهُ بِغَمْرِهِ بِهِ وَغَيْرُهُمَا بِسَبْعِ غَسَلَاتٍ. He says here, number 2, the urine of a young boy child. A young boy child that isn't weaned from breast milk. His urine and his vomit by rubbing it and brushing it off with water. So the author is telling you that anything that is impure fall upon the earth, that's how you remove it. He moves on. If there's a young child who pees on your lap, he's a young boy. He's not weaned from breast milk. He's 1.5. He eats a little bit of table food here and there, but he's not necessarily weaned. He still drinks. That's the main source of his food. Or they may give him some food, but he doesn't necessarily want it himself. If he urinates upon your garment, he says, "Ghamma, take some water, pour it on there, like this and like that." That's it. You don't have to wash the whole thing. You don't have to strain and pour out the whole thing. According to the author. According to the author. We understand from this that if it's a girl baby, no, a different story. If it's a boy child who's 3, who's 4, who's weak, who eats nothing but table food, then it's more that you have to do. Everybody understand this? He says, وَغَيْرُهُمَا بِسَبْعِ غَسَلَاتٍ. He says, anything besides the ground and anything besides a young infant or young child's urine, you must wash it 7 times. It's a drastic change now. The earth, something falls upon the ground, there's no set amount of washings. Young boy urinates in your throat, there's no set amount of washings. Anything else, then you must wash that surface, your clothes, whatever the najasa falls upon, how many times? 7 times, with water. Nothing dry, with water. He didn't mention soap, but he said with what? He says with water. He then says, أحدها بتراب ونحوه في نجاسة كلب وخنزير فقط مع زوالها ولا يضر بقع لون أو ريح أو هما عجزا وتطهر خمرة انقلبت بنفسها خلا وكذا دهنها لا دهن ومتشرب نجاسة. He then says, point number 3, as for if it's come or if the filth comes from swine or from a dog, then not only do you have to wash the surface 7 times, but the first time or one of those times is to be with dirt, with soil, according to the author, may Allah have mercy upon him. Everybody understand this? He then says, any stain or any smell that is left from removing those impurities, it is okay. You don't necessarily have to worry about that if you don't have the ability to remove it 100%. As for the ground, he said that you have to remove the essence and the trace, ascent. Other than that, wash it 7 times. A pig and a dog, one of the times have to be with dirt. He says, as for your clothes, as for a table, as for a prayer rug or something like this, then you try to remove it, you try to clean it, I ran out of water. There wasn't enough time. I couldn't get rid of the stain, or still smells a little funny. He says, then it's what? Labas. In other words, if you have the ability to totally remove the stain, totally remove the smell, totally remove any type of trace or proof that it was there, then that is what must be done. Everybody understand this? Now, as we said before, we have to understand that the books of Fiqh, we do not study these books with the belief that everything in those books are correct. We do not study those books with the belief that they're holy scriptures. We study those books with the belief that they are beneficial books, written by scholars of Islam. That which is clearly proven in the Kitab and the Sunnah we take. That which isn't so clear from the Kitab and the Sunnah, we don't reject, but we refrain from. But it's still a benefit in knowing it and understanding the different details and ins and outs of the situation. Everybody understand this? It's still a benefit in knowing and understanding these things. So therefore, our rule and our policy is that we try to avoid mentioning differences of opinion, khilafat, and things like this. However, just to make things simple, because it's something that happens on a daily basis, if some impurities fall upon your clothes, or upon your shoes, or on your carpet, or on your bed, wherever you may go, you do not have to wash it 7 times. The only thing that is obligatory is that you remove it in its trace. You remove that thing, and you remove the trace of that thing. Everybody understand this? Everybody with me? However, there are some madhabs of the ulama who say that it must be washed 7 times. Is that impure substance, it falls upon a clean substance, then it must be washed how many times? 7. So we have 2 terms here, brothers and sisters. Everybody stay with me. Stay with me. We have something that is najis, and then we have that which is called mutanajjis. We have najis and mutanajjis. That which is najis is something that is filthy and impure itself. It never becomes clean. It cannot be washed. It cannot be recycled or turned to another substance. And then we have that which is called mutanajjis, that which has become impure, that which became unclean. Who can make an example of these 2? Swine. What about swine? The pig? The pig or the flesh? What did Allah say in the Quran? Allah said what? Lahmu khinzir. He said the flesh of swine. Allah Azza wa Jalla did not say the pig or the boar or any other type of swine familiar that you have. Any type of genus of pigs. Okay? Wild boar, hog, pig, because people try to make it different. Swine. Oink. Tayyib. Malish, excuse me. Now, Abdul Wadud, stay with me, Akhi. Focus. Breathe. Now, listen. I got to mess with you a little bit, man. You know that. Got to keep you sharp. Throw a couple of jabs at you. But this is an actual issue. Because Allah did not say swine was impure. Allah said, lahmu khinzir. He said, the flesh of swine. So some ulama say other parts of the pig are not najis. Because that's not what Allah said. And nothing stopped Allah from saying swine. Another ulama say, if the flesh is najis, then the blood is najis, the skin is najis, and everything that's connected. Allahu A'lam. Okay? So therefore, let's stick with that which is agreed upon. And that is the what? Ahsant. Let's stick with the agreed upon opinion. Flesh of swine. Can you wash the flesh of swine? Sheikh Mahdi? Sheikh Mahdi, can you wash the flesh of swine? And does it become pure if you wash it? Anybody else? What do we do? What you say, Sheikh? Why not? Why can't you wash it? Why can't it become pure? So is your mother. Go back to the rule. Yeah, this is I'm not being funny. This is a rule. This is a training. It's impermissible to marry your mother. Just because haram doesn't mean that it is. That's the point I'm trying to give you guys. Just because something is haram doesn't mean that it is najis. We need a better example, Sheikh. Why not? Limada. You can wash it. Why can't it become pure? Why not? Ahsan. Because it's najis itself. Ainun najisa. That thing itself is impure. And then we have a table. I will tell you, the table. We have a table. And the flesh of swine falls upon the table. And you get some juice on the table. You remove the piece of pork from the table. Can you pray on the table? On the spot where the pork was? Why? Why can't I pray on the table? But why though? How does it now become pure? According to what I just told you guys. What's the word I used? Ahsant. It's mutanajis. Is that thing became impure. But the asl of the table is that it was what, Sheikh? Clean. Ahsant. The asl of the table is that it was what? Then the najasa fell upon it. Remove the najasa, take away its trace, the table goes back to its origin. Everybody understand this? But the flesh of swine itself, its origin is najis. I understand the beauty of this principle and understanding the two things, but you got to memorize that with Tawheed. Wallah, it's no good if it's in your notes. You got to have it here in your heart. La. Some scholars say you shouldn't take notes in class. Yeah, really. It's much to learn, my young apprentice. Some scholars say you shouldn't take notes in class because if you take notes, your attention is taken away from the teacher. And some of them say that your attention should be focused upon the teacher. Right here. Now, let's move on. So we've understood that there are some things that are najis and some things that are mutanajis. Things that became najis afterwards. Once you remove that thing, it's no longer mutanajis. Let's make another example with regards to marriage. Since we talked about your mother being your mahram. In Islam, you can shake your mother's hand. You can travel with your mother. It's your mother. She gave birth to you. But that's not the same with any other woman. There's certain rulings to that. So therefore, it's impermissible for a man to marry his mother. And it's an abomination, without a doubt. Can a man marry a woman as his first wife and then marry that woman's aunt as his second wife? Come up here, Mama. Yalla. Sorry. Which one? At the same time or different times? Different times. In other words, that woman, his wife, and her aunt, they're not absolutely impermissible for him. But they're conditionally impermissible for him. And that is with regards to marrying them both at the same time. Tight, sit down. Can a man marry a woman and that woman's daughter? Period. Absolutely impermissible. Similar concept to najis and mutanajis. Something that is impure by itself, the flesh of swine, and something that becomes impure. Let's make another example to make things even clearer, Abu Sa'id. Let's say the skin of a pig. Pig skin. American football. The reality. Or other things. Maybe some shoes that are made from pig skin. Or say a hairbrush. Boar's hair. I used to be a barber. It's the best brush you can get. It comes from boar hair. A belt. Leather. So on and so forth. But specifically the hairbrush. Certain bristles, the softness, the sturdiness of it, you can only find in a pig. Or even in football. That's right. And they take pride in that. The pigskin. So let's ask the question now. Can you use those things? Can you play football with the pigskin? Can you brush your hair with hair from a boar. What you say, Omar? Why? Say it again. They may have mixed it with something. Okay, so if you mix something haram with something else, it's no longer haram or no longer najis. I didn't say you're wrong. I want you to come close though. But it's najis. Abu Saeed. Omar, you got to go back to the original concept. Is the skin of a pig najis? That's first and foremost. That's the first question. I'm not asking the question, I'm saying that's the first issue. And secondly, can the skin of a pig be altered and changed and tanned and treated? But you can't do that with the flesh. You understand? It's hair of the boar. It's on his body. Everybody, what's the point I'm trying to get to? Who can tell me the point I'm trying to get to? But what's the point I'm trying to get to right here? No, I didn't say that. Is that there are some things that are absolutely impure, period. And there's some things that are conditionally. There's some things that are absolutely haram, and there are other things that are conditionally haram. And this is a very important concept for the Muslim to understand. Very important. That everything doesn't always stay the same in Islam. Some things are haram in a certain place in a certain time, and others aren't. And it's something that you can utilize on a daily basis. Understanding this concept. You understand this? Necessity, extreme hardship, so on and so forth. Everybody understand this? Right, now, we want to stop here whereas the adhan is upon us. And perhaps there's some questions. Hopefully in the next class, we'll either continue from this with regards to the chapter of Najasat, or we will get into Bindina Azawajal, the Wasiyah, writing wills in Islam. I want everybody to do some homework, inshallah. I want everybody to go and research and put together things that are najis in Islam with the proof from the Quran and the Sunnah. We mentioned how many najis things tonight? What was the first one? I didn't say that. La, subhanAllah. I never said alcohol was najis.
Flesh of swine.
Flesh of swine. I never said the saliva of the dog was najis. La, we didn't say what fifth though. Huh? Tight. Something else though. We said that was najis, not haram. Najis. We didn't get the lesson. Right? I said the flesh of swine, and I said what? I said urine. Urine of a child. So there are other things that are considered to be najis in Islam. This, that. So what I'm not going to tell you. I want you guys to go home and research them first. And why they're considered to be najis. No, that's not najis. It's haram. Alhamdulillah, I came in late, Sheikh. It's very important for us to understand these things, though. The difference between the two. So, alhamdulillah, you brothers, jazakumullah khairan for your participation. You all did a good job. We don't mean to challenge nobody, but this is how we learn and how we teach. Well, alhamdulillah. Inshallah, these things will stay with you longer. Bidnillah. Homework? Homework. Yes, Khalid. Question says, if the flesh of swine falls upon your clothes and you don't have water, can you substitute the washing with dirt or something like this? We say that with regards to removing impurities from your body, then in most cases, not all, but in most cases, those impure things will not be removed except through water or any other type of liquid cleansing agent. Using the bathroom is one thing. You can use stones and dirt and rocks. But something falls on your clothes, then it's a stain. It's not going to come off unless you clean it with water or clean it with something else that's liquid. However, What is the ruling on offering prayer? Make tayammum. And so on and so forth. That's the definition, but that doesn't necessarily remove the thing from your clothes or your body. Another concept here that's related to this is using the bathroom. In Islam, it is permissible for a person to cleanse him or herself with something that is dry. You don't necessarily have to use water, as many Muslims believe. That's wrong. There's no condition that you have to use water. La. So in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, in the Arabian Peninsula, water was very scarce. Jiddan. Paper and things like this, whatever, very scarce. Expensive, hard to come by. So that's why the Prophet ﷺ mentioned about stones and rocks. Something that was easy, something that was free, something that was cheap, that everybody could obtain. In other words, every Muslim has to be clean. No excuse not to be clean. No excuse to be dirty. No excuse to be filthy. Who can't get a rock? No matter where you live in, even in the concrete jungle, you can come across rocks. Break the brick. You live in a desert, sand, stones. You live in a jungle, the woods, those things are always going to be around no matter what. No matter what. So that's why he mentioned stones. Nowadays we don't use stones. We have so many different things of using the bathroom and cleansing ourselves with so on and so forth. The ulama say it is permissible for a person to use stones or toilet tissue or something that is dry as long as the filth doesn't go on another part of his or her body. In other words, the area around your private areas. That's it. As for if something happened and it moved and it fell onto your leg away from your private area, then that must be removed with water. If you can't remove it from water and you have to pray, then inshallah you make tayammum for that. With clean dirt. And that was another class. Everybody clear on that? That's why I mentioned that. Wallahu a'lam. Now, type question is, can we play football? I never said you couldn't play football. I never said you can't either. I didn't say either or. I didn't say that. Now, as for playing football, then there's two ways of answering the question. First is, easy way, play with a football that's not from pigskin. They have artificial footballs. They have footballs made from other types of leather, synthetic type of leather. Plus, pigskin's leather too. A rubber and so on and so forth. Even though it's not going to be the same. Not like the Wilson. Last check. Professional. There you go. Wear gloves. Wide receiver. Some quarterbacks wear gloves. Okay? However, let's go even deeper now. And that is the concept of tanning things in Islam. The Messenger of Allah has explained to us in several authentic hadith. From them is the hadith of Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhuma, ayyuma ihabin dubigha faqad tahura. He says any hide or any skin that has been tanned has become pure. Any hide that is tanned and treated has now become pure. However, the ulama, they differ. What's meant by that hadith? Any hide of a dead animal that's permissible to eat. Cow, lamb, sheep, goat, camel, so on and so forth. And they say as for a pig or swine, a boar or whatever, a hog, they say no. Snake skin, alligator skin, so on and so forth. They say no matter what you do, no matter how you tan and treat them, they are impure and they're filthy. Another ulama say la. Anything that's tanned, the impurities are removed, is colored, is dyed, is treated, and now becomes permissible. So therefore, if you take the opinion that it's permissible because it's tanned, go to pigskin, because it's no longer in its natural state. But if you take the opinion that it's haram, absolutely, then you can't play the pigskin unless you have on gloves. If that. Okay? So, wearing ostrich shoes. Can you wear ostrich shoes? Permissible to eat ostrich? Why not? That's a whole nother class. The class of foods. Is it permissible to eat ostrich? It's tight. All birds. Can you eat a owl? Falcon? Peregrine falcon? Right outside of Van Wyck, remember? How many years ago was that? Five summers? 4 summers ago, we saw a falcon pull off of the light pole. Right? What light? Right outside. There you are. Tell you. So the point is what? Just because a bird of the wudu don't mean it's permissible to eat. Birds of prey. A bird may be considered to be khabith, filthy and foul. That's a whole long class. Is what foods can and cannot be eaten. Okay? At the end of the day, we did classes on this. I think we posted on YouTube from Master Torah a couple summers ago. At the end of the day, I will tell you, can you eat an ostrich or not? If you can't eat the ostrich, that is going to also have an effect on wearing its skin. Can't eat alligator meat. That's going to have an effect on wearing its gators, as they say, right? What color are the gators? What color? Green, pink, blue, brown. Allah Allah. Snakeskin shoes, snakeskin belt. Permissible and impermissible. Okay? So therefore, the pig and its skin is pertaining to these issues. Once you dye something, once you tan it, some ulama say it takes on a different rule. Some scholars are of the opinion that anything that's tanned now becomes permissible. No matter where it came from, no matter what it was. Impermissible, predator, slaughtered, hunted. Anything that's tanned and dyed is no longer najis. Another ulama say no. There's a long difference of opinion among the ulama with regards to this issue. Everybody clear on this? Wallahu a'lam. On pig skin, the majority of the ulama of the opinion, according to my studies, is that if the animal is impermissible when it's alive, it's impermissible when it's dead. Same thing. If it's haram alive, then that's haram dead. Can't eat a pig when it's walking and oinking. Can't play with its skin. If they have the opinion that alligator is haram, then you can't wear gators. And some of them have said the alligator was permissible. You can eat its flesh. Crocodile or whatever. I didn't say that. There's long khilaf in the issue. Allah. Don't kill him too much though, Sheikh. Any other questions before we stop? Frog. Can you eat a frog? I would say, me personally, I wouldn't eat a frog, but I wouldn't say this impermissible. Whereas there is a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ in which he forbade the killing of frogs. This hadith is not the most authentic hadith. And when Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah was asked about it, and he said that the hadith was weak, he acknowledged that it wasn't authentic. He says that the hadith is there, you shouldn't eat it. But there's some of the ulama who have the opinion that a frog is permissible to eat, it's nothing wrong with eating it. As for a turtle, people, they debate on this issue. And that is because some turtles are considered to be amphibious. Or turtles, period, all of them. They go on water and they go on land.
Like you said, anything that lives on land and lives on water. Like alligator, frog, turtle that live on land and live in water. I hear that for
That's right.
I grew up with that. I don't know.
Right, we say that. There lies no doubt. The problem with an amphibious animal is that it resembles 2 different types of animals. Is it a fish or is it a land animal? If it lives in the sea, or if it's similar to a fish, whatever it is, eel, lobster, Congo eel, then it has rulings of the food that comes from the sea. And the most correct opinion of the scholars is that anything that comes from the sea is permissible to eat as long as it isn't poisonous and harmful. Crab, shrimp, crayfish, lobster, catfish, if it comes from that large body of water, it's permissible to eat. And there's some madhabs, some ulama say that you can't eat shrimp and lobster. That opinion is weak and Allah knows best. Allahu A'lam. As for the land, once the animal comes upon land, there's a whole set of rules. Does it hunt? Does it have fangs? Does it have canine teeth? Keva. So therefore the frog, the alligator, things like this, it's between. So perhaps a way of determining what's correct is to look at the majority of its life. A sea turtle stays where in most cases? In the sea. So some ulama say it's permissible to eat sea turtle as long as you don't go against any laws. don't hunt sea turtles because they're endangered species, so on and so forth. A box turtle, or pig-nosed turtle, or a snapping turtle. These are all different types of turtles. It's permissible to eat them. How long do they stay in the water? How long do they stay on land? If a snapping turtle comes out on the land, what does it do? Does it eat on land? Or does it only eat in the water? See how I can go back and forth? Because if it hunts on land, it's not a carnivore and it's haram to eat. If it hunts on land, it's not a what? It's carnivore. It's impermissible to eat carnivorous animals. But if it hunts in the water, it's permissible to eat what? Anything from the sea. Clear on that? So therefore, it's an issue that could go both ways. Me personally, I wouldn't say eating frog and turtle is impermissible. I wouldn't say it's haram. And Allah knows best. If you have doubt about it, stay away from it. But if you feel like it's permissible, I wouldn't say that it's impermissible. And Allah knows best. And that's why it goes both sides. Because it's amphibious. It has two different rulings pertaining to it. Wallahu a'lam. And the ulama, they call this animal baramawi. They call it a baramawi. Because it's the bar, which means land, and ma, which means water. Baramawi, amphibious. Similarities between Arabic and English. Wallahu a'lam. Any other questions? Can't slaughter it? It all depends. If you catch the turtle coming out the water, that's one thing. But now it can breathe outside of water. If it can breathe, yeah, I mean, you do what you can. Fair enough to the best of your ability. Right, right. I mean, a lot of people, that's another question. Can you slaughter a frog? Good question. How do you even catch it before you slaughter it? Jumping around? Al-Muhim is that you should try your best to kill the animal in the best manner. But not to be funny, because there's some animals which you can't slaughter. And then even some things that you eat that are killed when they're cooked. And we say that it's permissible, according to some of the people of knowledge, to do that, such as crabs or lobster. Is there any way of killing the lobster if we put it in boiling water? You got to dump it in. Allah knows best. Wallahu a'lam. Any other questions before we stop? Any questions from any sisters, anybody, before we stop? Khalas. Ah, man, that's a good question. Allah knows best. You get better, inshallah. Bismillah. A couple of months, you get better, you're walking around, you'll come back. Bismillah. Wallahu a'lam. Wa subhanaka wa hamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Jazakumullahu khairan.